This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask with your host, Dr. Judith Briles. On the show today, you'll find out where book publishing is going and how to take advantage of it. How to identify and avoid publishing predators. What opportunities are emerging as the book trade evolves in new forms. How to avoid losing money and much, much more. Join us now as a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take the author to the next level of publishing. It's your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Brought to you by AuthorU and the Book Shepherd. And now, here's your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Well, top of publishing day to all of you. It's been a long time since I've had one of my favorite guests on, who is always loaded with deep content, so topical, and because of her travels, she's always got her hands, her eyes, her ears on what's going on in the writing and the publishing community, which I think is really critical as we share information. And today is going to kind of be a mixed bag. We're going to be talking about Amazon because you got to be tuned into Amazon. And those of you who are still Amazon phobic, get over it because they are a partner for you in moving and marketing your books. So we'll be deep diving into that. And then we're going to talk about some other things about just general marketing, with what's going on with pricing, what happened. You have a limp book, you want to bring it back alive. So Penny Sansevieri and I are going to be deep diving into all these topics during our hour. And to remind all of you who Penny is, if you do not know, number one, she's the author of one of my favorite all-time books, which is her book called Red Hot Internet Publicity. I think it's one of the best ones out there. She's also the author of How to Sell Your Books by the Truckload on Amazon, and other things that she does as the CEO and founder of Author Marketing Experts, known as AME. She's also an adjunct professor at NYU and a best-selling author herself. So that's what really makes it so powerful in what she brings. She knows what authors are going through. She teaches, she writes, she's a professor. She really is recognized in the media relations and the book marketing communities. Her company is one of the leaders in publishing industry, and she's developed some of the most cutting-edge book marketing campaigns. Penny's owned and operated Author Marketing Experts for over 16 years. She has herself published 14 books, and she writes for the Huffington Post, Blog Her, Entrepreneur, Publishers Weekly, In Touch Weekly, and has been featured on Fox News. So with that, let's just jump in. Welcome, Penny, back to AuthorU, your guide to book publishing.
Well, thank you, Judith, and thanks for that very kind introduction. It's always a pleasure to chat with you.
Well, it's, it's been almost like a year since you've been on the show, and I'm going, what's wrong with that? Because
I was so sorry.
It's stunning. Anyway, Penny, you actually were at the digital world here. And digital is certainly important. It's not the only game in town. Were there any ahas that came away for authors today that they should be tuned into or avoiding or adding on to?
Well, I think that the biggest takeaway from digital book world in New York was that book pricing is really starting to change. So where it used to be that, everybody was discounting their books left and right, we're going to start to see a lot less of that. Not that people aren't still going to run specials on their books, but, the 99-cent books are really going to start to go away because there's such a glut of them right now on Amazon. So that is one of the biggest things. The other interesting thing is that ebooks really aren't doing as well in traditional publishing as they are in self-publishing. So the traditional publishing world, they're like, the paperbacks are still selling, but that's actually not true in independent publishing. Mm-hmm. So they finally made that distinction, which was kind of big because, as you know, over the last year and a half, a lot of articles have appeared saying, ebooks are declining, but it's really specific to that segment
So
and
it's
I
a
think a lot of
traditional
it has
book
to,
market. It's a traditional book market, but if you look at the prices of their ebooks, a bulk of them are over $10.
oh yeah,
And so if you look at the component that any self-publisher, indie publisher knows, if you price your book between $2.99 and $9.99, you'll get 70%. If you price it below $2.99 or over $9.99, you're going to get 35%. Let's do the math, people.
yeah, yeah,
So if I price my
yeah,
book for $9.99, I'm going to walk away with $6.99 net to me if I'm the publisher, and if I price it at $15.99, let's just say that if you go into that, I'm going to make less money. So let's do the math.
yeah, yeah. No, that's absolutely true. It is the pricing has always been an issue for authors because we work, and I'm sure you do as well. We work with a lot of authors who say, well, I want to price my book at $35, let's say, just hypothetically. And I'll ask them, I'll say, why is this book priced so high? And they'll say, well, I need to make all my money back.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, and that's such a so pricing is becoming a really critical piece of, even more so, and a lot of it, is to do again with that there's so many books, popping up on Amazon all the time.
Well, I think also what's going on is that the only time you're going to get these higher prices is if you really have a highly technical book that is very niched
Sure.
and very unique, or if your book is really a combination of a book and a workbook that goes
Yeah.
into, and I've always said, my AuthorU-Your book, if I'd put that in a 3-ring binder, I would have priced it at $197. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just because
Yeah.
that's what people expect in those kind of workshops, but it's in a bound book, so it's significantly less. But it's certainly over
Sure.
the $25 mark that you might expect. It's a bigger book, but I think
Yeah.
pricing is critical. So I'm glad it's on the table. So here's a question. So do people view the 99-cent book as a junk book?
Yeah. A lot of
Okay.
people are, and a lot of the lists that I belong to, a lot of these, independent author lists and things like that, we're seeing a lot more of that 99-cent books are, it used to be, it's like, well, price your book super low, price your book at 99 cents, and you'll pull in more readers. And I think that there was a time when that was absolutely true. But the problem is that you've got so many of these poorly written books that are thrown together, priced at 99 cents, and people are just done wasting their time on them. So the perceived value of the book is becoming much more important.
Well, actually, for me, I love that. I actually do love that because there is, you've heard me say this before, that where, 85% of the population thinks that they have a book in them. And I've always countered with, well, should it be allowed out? And that the self-publishing market has allowed for anybody and their monkey to actually, if they can get on to Amazon or any other, or they have the money to pay some of the pay to publish operations, anybody can publish. And to me, it's a crime almost because it's so polluted. You don't know what's what.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. And here's an example, right? So we have gotten, so over the last, I would say, since the November election, we've gotten so many books about Trump. Some pro-Trump, some anti-Trump, a lot of anti-Trump books. And you know what? If you feel that way, that's fine. But don't expect the media to jump on this if you're just writing a book because you hate the guy. So that's the other piece that we're noticing, is that there are too many people. As you pointed out, everybody's publishing because everybody can. But there are a lot of people that are putting out books and they really have no platform to do so. And I'm seeing that so much more, not just around politics, but around everything.
So
you got to watch that because
it's one of the first questions I have. So tell me about who when I do a game plan with them, who's your audience? Clearly, who are we
Yeah.
writing for? What do they look like? What they feel like? What their hopes? What are their fears? What are their concerns? What are their problems? What are their ills? What are they scared, spooked about? Who are these people, and where do they hang out? That's always one of the first questions I ask, and they don't know. They don't know.
That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. And one of the problems that we see is that they're thinking about this in reverse. So after you've done your due diligence in your business or your speaking or teaching or whatever you've done, then you write a book. But a lot of what we're seeing now is we're seeing people who are writing a book to get them to that level of expertise. And to some degree, yes, a book does make you an expert. But when you're talking about something and you want to drive national media attention to that topic, well, you better have the chops to back it up. Because there's no way that, there's no way that just because you wrote a book on dieting or dating or politics or something, and you have no history with this topic other than the fact that maybe you lost 60 pounds or maybe whatever, there's no way that there's nothing I can do with that. There's nothing anybody can do with that. You know what I mean?
Penny, you've probably seen these people, and I deal with it because I've actually done some rant blogs on it. That I see everybody becomes an expert. I wrote a book, so now I'm an expert on marketing. I said, oh, please, God, save us. And that you go through other people who have, like you said, I lost 60 pounds, now I'm an expert on dieting. Really? Well, have you heard about the yo-yo? Let's talk to you 5 years from now and see if you've got it off still. And there's just so much out there that anybody and everybody seems to want to get a book out there, but they don't know what to do. And I don't know if the stats have changed, but I know 2 years ago that the average self-published book did not sell more than 100 copies, and that was to friends and pals. Is there any number variation in that?
No, I think that is still quite accurate.
So that's when we talk legacy and we talk those kind of things. All right, we're going to take a quick break here. Penny Sanseveri of American, I would say American, it's author marketing experts, but we could say American author marketing experts. Author marketing experts is with me today and really, really talking about what's going on in publishing, what's going on with Amazon, and how you can take advantage of it. This is Judith Briles. It's AuthorU, your guide to book publishing.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Is there a book in you or another? AuthorU will show you how to create, develop, and publish your book without being hoodwinked. If you already have a book out, you'll find a supportive and brainstorming community that's connected and creative no matter where you live. AuthorU brings in national experts for its book camps and annual author extravaganza held each May. It has regular meetings and delivers webinars for its members on timely topics. Through AuthorU's extensive network, members enjoy exclusive benefits, including significant discounts for a variety of services necessary to publishing. The Resource, its online book publishing news magazine, is content-heavy and it's free. If you want to create a book that has pizzazz, punch, and panache, AuthorU is for you. If you're a hobbyist or a casual author, it's not. Join AuthorU today through its website at AuthorU.org. Follow AuthorU on Twitter at AuthorU and on Facebook at AuthorU, where timely author and publishing tips and articles are posted daily. AuthorU, where the author goes to become seriously successful.
First impressions are everything in the world of book publishing. Whether your book is an ebook, a print version, or both, your book cover needs to pop, sizzle, and sparkle to immediately capture the attention of your audience. And your book's interior needs to be just as dynamic and reflect the professionalism your readers demand. Nick Sellinger of NZ Graphics has won numerous national and international book awards for his cover designs and interior layouts. With over 20 years of experience in graphic design, he knows what it takes to create award-winning books and the many promotional pieces that authors need, such as posters, banners, postcards, one-sheets, business cards, logos, and more. Visit ncgraphics.com and see what authors and publishers have to say about their award-winning books and how NZ Graphics can make your book the success it was meant to be. That's nzgraphics.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
One of the problems is when I'm working with someone who I know really well, it's so easiest to get off track because we can talk about so many different things on that. And that, and I do want to bring up to all of you, the AuthorU Draft a Dream book competition is now open. All the information is on the AuthorU.org website. 5 winners will get a full book design, interior design, ebook, advanced reader copies, they'll get press releases. And basically by the time it's done, it is worth $8,000. And the top scoring book will get an additional $1,000 check. On top of it, there are 20 finalists that get a variety of things. So if you've got a book in you and it's in draft stage, it hasn't been published, check out the Draft a Dream book competition. Your judges are school teachers in your different areas, and for children's, juvenile, and YA, and librarians. So you've got a good group, and they give wonderful feedback, by the way. All right, so Penny, on the pricing, I get that, and I actually love that you'll stick your neck out here and say a lot of people view that 99-cent books are maybe junky. So how does that tie into like a book launch where they throw them out at free and 99 cents to be a tease? I mean, how do we separate ourselves, or do we? Do we go ahead and bump up the price? What's the strategy now?
Well, I think that there's nothing wrong with launching a book. I mean, I don't know that I would necessarily launch a book for free. I don't think there's anything wrong with having a special launch sale for the book. But keep in mind that if you're discounting your book, so if your book is normally $5.99 and you're discounting your book down to 99 cents, I mean, while I think that was viewed as a really great strategy at one point, it is an extremely deep discount. And I would keep that maybe for a day. And I would also consider not necessarily training your readers to expect you to drop it to 99 cents, because that's essentially what you're doing. So drop it to, $2.99, which is still, $3 for a book. Come on, that's still a great deal. We need to kind of unlearn our readers from expecting these prices as well, because you have the batch that thinks, well, these books probably are not very well written. And then you have the other batch that just come to expect 99-cent books, and that's all they want. Just like, people who, they go to these book events, and all they do is grab free books and then do nothing with them.
Yes. Oh, yes. Well, you and I have both been at BEA, and they have cartloads of them. Cartloads.
Yeah, they have cartloads of these books. And some of these folks, look, they're librarians or they're reviewers, but some people just go there to grab books, and that's really all that they want to do. That's the only thing that they really plan to do. So you got to, and it's hard. You're not going to get rid of all of those freebie lovers and those 99-cent lovers, but I think that you have to look, it's fine to discount your book. It's fine to do a freebie book for a day, but don't make it the exception. Don't necessarily make it the rule, because quality over quantity, and I know we're going to talk about Amazon too. Amazon started doing some heavy quality vetting, and I think that at some point, maybe not this year, but hopefully, soon, we're going to start to see floods of books getting removed off of Amazon that were, maybe they have a bunch of hyperlinks to sell a bunch of product or something like that, and those books are oftentimes priced at 99 cents or they're free, just to get people to spend $300 or $400 on something outside of Amazon, which Amazon obviously doesn't want, and I don't blame them.
Well, and then so my problems with hyperlinks is that they're often broken, in the first place.
Oh,
So that's always been my problem when I see ebooks loaded up with so many of them, and I'm just saying, really. And I've tried to tell my clients when I'm working with my book shepherd cap on, why don't you just send them to the master page, the master website, and tell them to go to that, and then tell them where to do a search in narrative. It'll keep you out of trouble. You won't be out of date instantly. And I just know more times than not that links get broken and they go away and people don't pay attention. So that's my 2 bits on that.
Well, and if you lose them once with a bad link, you're not very likely to get them back.
And that is true. They get pissed.
Yeah, they do. They absolutely do. Yeah.
All right. So in your Amazon, in your strategy, you're working with people at early stages, and I'm not surprised that there is a gazillion books, whether they're pro-Trump, anti-Trump, fill in the blank Trump. You are going to see, and I think that there are some fast tracks actually coming out of the New York houses right now that are going to be hitting pretty quickly. But that, and so you'll have everyone tooting your horn. And I suspect that the main media, because I think that's what people are trying to do, is position themselves to get onto the media in these cases, that they're going to be inundated, and then they're just going to go tilt, why bother? And they're going to wait for the mainstream names to come out with more substance. Now, I could be wrong here, but, I'm just speculating.
No, I think that is absolutely true, because I think there's also a really big trend. One of the really big trends that came out of digital book world was worry and anxiety books. Apparently, these books are just topping the charts.
Which kind of books are those?
Worry and anxiety books.
Worry and anxiety books. And why is that? That's because of the election.
Because of the election, because people are freaked out about the election, and I think that you're going to start to see a lot more of those. And I also think that you're going to start to see a lot of books that are talking about sort of the psychology of it all. I think the big houses are going to be, I think they're going to fast track, as you said, a lot of these types of books. But that doesn't necessarily mean that your average author who doesn't have a big publishing deal can't jump on this. Just make sure that you have the platform to back it up.
Well, and you can. Knowing that you have worry, anxiety, or if you're the local psychologist, with a little book that deals with reducing stress and anxiety, what you do is you newsjack what's going on out there and then lead it in. So you write your blogs and your tweet. You do all of those that have it in there, but give tips from how to deal with the overwhelm from whatever. And you can take both sides. You can do it from family disputes, dealing with friends, from being overwhelmed when you turn the TV off, etc. You can do all kinds of stuff, I think, here, which could be big.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let me, you know what, I don't want to leave the vetting, because I agree with you on Amazon's going after some of the books. And I had written a blog, maybe 6 months ago about that if they get complaints in, they will actually do a hand slap on you and give you a warning that you need to go fix it. And if you don't fix it, they'll pull your book down. And they started doing that. And they actually would let you know pages that there were problems on. And these were...
But now... I'm sorry,
go
ahead.
I would say, so now they're going deeper? Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, now they're going deeper. And actually, I put a blog up yesterday on our site that's gone a little crazy. We got a ton of comments on them. In fact, one from Mark Coker at Smashwords. I really encourage you to look at it, and I'll explain it on the call. But what Amazon is doing now is they are vetting every book that has the term bestseller somewhere on the book jacket. So if you have said you're a New York Times bestselling author, USA Today bestselling author, whatever, they are asking you for proof. So in other words, you would better be able to show where that book hit the list. You can't just email them and say, well, I hit the list. Because some authors will take the best. Some bestseller status has become a little squirrely. So some authors will take bestseller status from 1987, and they will carry that with them through all their books. There is nothing wrong with that, right? But you got to consider the relevancy of hitting bestseller status for 1987. I mean, I think you have to kind of start to qualify that, like hit bestseller status for XYZ books or something. The other thing is that a lot of authors are putting Amazon bestseller when they've hit bestseller within a category, and that doesn't really count, you know. So Amazon's going in and vetting this. Now, Mark Coker from Smashwords had a really bad experience with one of his authors who was, in fact, a New York Times best-selling author, and Amazon just pulled the book. They said, no. So they're vetting all these books. You better show proof. For USA Today, and there's a link up on our blog for this, for USA Today, it's easy to find the archives on bestseller status, but I'm not sure how to find them on the New York Times.
I don't know either, and that's a horrible experience. So we have a legit New York Times bestseller who was yanked off because the author couldn't prove it, with the exception if you have you keep a copy showing that you're on the bestseller list, put it in a file, everybody, with the date of the paper. That's what I think you're going to have to do on that.
Well, I mean, but I mean, look, and you know, again, like, I understand why Amazon is doing this. They're trying to get their users the best possible experience, and you don't want to be slapping bestseller on there if you weren't really a bestseller. But you know, you've got to. Amazon needs to really realize that in some cases, some of these bestseller lists aren't going to be. You're not going to be able to find them. So the author is going to have to redo the cover or pull the book. Redo the cover, Judith. I mean, that's kind of a big deal. This isn't just redoing your book description.
Oh, no. You could have a lot of money in your cover. And if your book is a bound book, you're talking about ripping the bugger off and rebinding it. So, I mean, I guess the print-on-demand crowd is going to do fine. The offset crowd has got a problem on that, so it's something we all need to pay attention to. We're going to take another quick break. Penny Sanseveri of Author Marketing Experts is with us. We are all over the map, but we're talking marketing, Amazon, and what to do for you to survive and thrive in this highly competitive publishing market today. We'll be right back.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
Want to publish like a pro today? Well, then take a look at Ingram Spark, the only publishing platform that offers print and ebook services through a single source. Upload, edit, and manage titles all in one place. Take more control of printing costs with print on demand, and reach even more readers through one of the world's most extensive distribution networks. Built by independent publishers for independent publishers, Ingram Spark has everything you need to maximize your book's potential: color printing, ebook distribution, print on demand, global reach, and more. Start publishing with Ingram Spark today and see just how far your titles will go tomorrow. That's ingramspark.com.
Many of us have dreamed of writing a book.
Some of us even have.
Then the hard work starts.
You'll need an editor.
Who will design the cover or typeset the pages?
Who will format the ebook?
If you're a business owner, consultant, or coach with a serious message and expertise to share, the team of experts at 1106 Design can guide you through the maze.
They've helped more than 1,000 authors create top-quality books and avoid the not-so-reputable self-publishing companies.
Learn more at 1106design.com.
Then call Michelle at 602-866-3226. 1106 Design.
When Ned Thompson and Harry Shore started Thompson Shore in 1972, they believed employees with great character would make up the best company. They were right. They hired people who were not only experts in bookmaking, but who were obsessed with quality and delivering exceptional customer service. Almost 40 years later, Thompson Shore remains a 100% employee-owned company. Ned and Harry knew that successful customer projects are a direct result of empowered employees. We specialize in all books for large and small publishers. Creating beautiful and well-made books, we're dedicated to pleasing our customers by making the experience a good one from start to finish. The personal touch we have with our customers allows us to be innovative in solving their most difficult challenges. Our platform also ensures that we can remain flexible to meet our customers' unique needs and expectations. Our marketing kit can create buzz for your title, enhancing the promotion of your book during infancy. When you need to test the market to gauge your future sales, we can provide digitally printed books that will transition seamlessly into a larger offset run. From ebook to hard copy to delivery, our skillful customer service teams are at the ready to answer your most pressing question. At Thompson Shore, we know that making the highest quality books requires more than just best technologies. It requires superior customer service, professionalism to the trade, and commitment to environmental and social values. With these standards of excellence in place, you can be sure that we will always help you put your best book forward.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Coming up, you'll hear more about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
With me is Penny Sanseveri from Author Marketing Experts, and I would encourage all of you to get over to the website and number one, sign up for the blog. But pull down the recent blog because it's talking about what we're talking about right now, which is Amazon's overwhelming, the vetting that they're doing and actually going after reviews. And a very common complaint I get from clients and from authors who are a member of the AuthorU-Your community is that my reviews have disappeared. And they were legitimate. They were good. They weren't bought for. They were, they really supported the book. And I mean, Penny, I had one book that had like 60 reviews and it's down to 25. It's like, shoom, they just disappear.
Wow.
And then it's hard to get those reviews and ask people to do it, and they figure, well, it's not complying. And the reality is somehow they've found you. And what I've been told is they're actually going in and vetting people's Facebook and Twitter accounts to see if there is any common connection. And if there is, they delete it because they assume you're friends. That's one of the issues, which is outrageous to me.
It is absolutely, it's outrageous. And I'll tell you something else. So Amazon says that you're not allowed to review books if you haven't spent, I forget now what it is, $50 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I actually went into an account that I knew, it wasn't my account, but I went into an account with the permission of the person who owned it and said, hey, are you a Prime member? No. Have you bought anything on Amazon? No. And I said, okay, so let me go in and see if I can legitimately review a book, right? So I said, write the review and I'll post it if you read something. Mm-hmm. So she wrote the review and I posted it, and the review is still up there. So which tells me that, and she's never bought anything from Amazon. This was a book that somebody sent her for review consideration. She's never bought anything on Amazon. So it's kind of interesting that it's a little bit catch as catch can, in my opinion.
Well, but the review could go down. I mean, I think that is what's important for everyone to realize is y'all need to check if you have a book and if it's up on Amazon with a page, you need to check every day to see if there is a new review. Copy it and get it over into a file on your own computer. Carry it on your website because it could be gone tomorrow. And at least you have the review or copy, or you can recontact if you recognize what the handle is on the person that reviewed you. You can ask them to repost it and make a variation to see if it goes up again. But my suspect is that they have figured out either each other on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, or somehow in the acknowledgments there's a cross name here, and the robots have just zapped you. I don't know what else to
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little, it's a little sketchy. It's a little sketchy in terms of how they're figuring out these reviews because, I do see that there are reviews that are pulled that are, not legitimate. You can tell that the reader didn't, you look at some reviews and you're like, well, this person clearly did not read the book because they basically copied what somebody else said in their review.
Mm-hmm.
But, a lot of these are quite legitimate reviewers. So it's really a shame. Now, the other thing that Amazon's doing, which I heard the other day,
Mm-hmm.
is if users complain about a book, so that there's something in the book or there's something, I don't know. And I don't think it's necessarily offensive language because, look, all the books in, romance, mystery market, whatever, they would probably, a lot of them would get pulled down. But they're actually, they're forwarding notes from users to people who have their books on there saying, well, the user found this problem with your book. And maybe it's something like an example, like a link that's not working. Why on earth would Amazon get involved in that level of minutia? Because I got to tell you, I think links is a big one, right? Not editing the book properly is a big one. I mean, man, if they have a staff of 1 million, that's fine. But there are 4,500 books published every day, and that number is probably quite low. So, good luck vetting all those titles on Amazon. But several authors that I've talked to have gotten emails from them saying, a reader commented about this, and you should go in and fix that. It just makes me crazy.
Well, that is goofy. I mean, it is.
It's kind of goofy, right?
I mean, do they do this with the mainline publishers?
Well, that's what I'd like to know. I mean, look, there are so many books. There was a book recently, and now I'm not going to remember the title of the author, but there was a book recently that was published by a Harper, and it was pulled down because it was in the news that there was a lot of passages that were stolen from other books and something like that. So Amazon didn't find those. Something came up in the news media, and this author stole her ideas from XYZ, whatever. But, you could spend all day vetting books that were improperly pulled together. So I'm not sure why Amazon's spending their time on this. I understand make it a great experience for the consumer, and that's always been their number one concern, and that's why Amazon has gotten so big. But this just seems a little like unless you have, unless you've done something super offensive, like you've just copied somebody's book, slapped your name on there, and put it up on Amazon, I'm not sure that that's really good use of their time. But hey, you know what? I don't run the company. Just be alert as an author if you get one of these. That's what Amazon's doing.
Well, unless you're dealing with public domain, do not. Do not. And you've really got a valid public domain work that you can slap your name on. Otherwise, just don't do it. But I mean, I think plagiarism is a real issue. And I think that actually it's become a commonality versus a rarity. And that's kind of a sad state of affairs for me anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Someone who's worked really hard, just as a side note, I spent some time, I got a blog coming out on Tuesday on one of the things to add to your Medium page, fun facts and stuff like that. And that, one of the fact was that I had Gloria Steinem try to talk me out of publishing a book, which turned out to, I know over dinner, we had a dinner. She says, you can't do this. You can't do this. I mean, you'll give them, meaning men, more information to use against us women. And I'm saying, Gloria, but Ms. Magazine is going under because of this. I know, but we can't talk about it. Well, I did publish it.
Oh, good for you.
Oh no, and it had 8 printings. It did very well. But take advantage of, pay attention to what we're talking about. So don't put bestseller, people, anybody, unless you can have absolutely valid proof that you're on USA Today, New York Times, major players, and you've got proof. Otherwise, you're going to lose a lot of money here really quick. And be delayed. So don't go, and unless you don't care about selling on Amazon, which I think is a huge mistake, since my data shows that almost 70% of all books now are sold through Amazon, Penny, do you have anything updated on that?
I think that number is probably actually higher. We're seeing, I think and I need to take a look at the statistics again from Digital Book World, but that number is probably 80, 85%, maybe higher. I mean, like, when was the last time that you bought a book on iTunes, right? Or BN.com? Amazon
exactly. Yeah. iBooks
Yeah.
or any of those things. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So pay attention, everyone, that you've, and that's why I'm saying I think at some point they're going to get hit with, are you a monopoly? Yeah, you are. All right. So Penny, we've got a couple of minutes to go for our final break, but I'd love to get into some issues of what's going on with Amazon ads. And as well as what about some of our older limp books? How some tips that we can focus on how to get the limp babies up off their feet. But in 2 minutes before this break comes up, what's going on in the ad world? Because people are confused. And I'm talking about Amazon ads.
The Amazon ads, yeah. The Amazon ads are actually a really, really good thing, and I've been testing them a lot with the book. Here's the thing. You have 400 keywords in order to make them work, which I know sounds super crazy, but the keywords are not the keywords that they suggest. They're the keywords, they are book titles similar to yours, authors similar to yours. So if you find an author that has 40 books, grab all their book titles and the author name, and now you've got 41 keywords in there. The other thing that you need to know is you want to start off with a $10 a day budget and 25 cents a click, and then you can raise it and lower it from there. But those strategies, 400 keywords, and like I said, it sounds super daunting, but it really isn't as daunting once you figure out that, especially if you're in a very saturated market like anything in genre fiction or anything in self-help, it should be no problem to find comparable authors.
So you're saying actually in your metadata, what we're saying here is that you actually use 400 keywords
when setting up the ads. Yeah, just when setting up the ads. And these are for sponsored posts. So these are ads that will appear. So if you go on Amazon and you search, for example, cookbooks with quinoa or something like that, it'll actually show up as part of the search results.
Okay, hold the thought. We're going to come back with cookbooks with quinoa when we come back. This is AuthorU, your guide to book publishing.
This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these.
The book shepherding concept is simple. The publishing world is changing, and so must you. You need an experienced shepherd and a guide to partner with you as you create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve your publishing goals. You can't do it alone without paying the price. You can spend your money creating a book that turns out to be so-so, or you can create a book that looks and feels classy, builds your brand, and is a financial success, a bestseller. It's your choice. You choose. You need the book shepherd. Publishing is riddled with obstacles, sometimes nightmares for the author. You don't need problems. You want solutions. Dr. Judith Briles will shepherd you through the maze and the chaos. At times, she's had to step in and rescue a book that has been sabotaged by a publisher or by a publishing service provider or sometimes even the author themselves. Judith Briles is the book shepherd if you want to create a book with no regrets. Give her a call today, 303-885-2207. That's 303-885-2207, or email her at judith@briles.com. By the way, Briles is spelled B-R-I-L-E-S. Follow Judith on Twitter at My Book Shepherd and on Facebook at The Book Shepherd.
One of the most important decisions you will ever make is your choice for printing your book. You are choosing a company which will be responsible for guiding you through the process and printing your book at a level of quality and detail that embraces your personal and creative needs. You want to choose a company that when your book finally arrives, you are delighted and ready to move on to the next level, and one that is customer focused. Choose King Printing Company and Addy Books to be that company that brings you to the next level. Go to kingprinting.com or call 978-458-2345 and ask for Tom Campbell.
At Total Printing Systems, customer service is our priority. We are located in Southern Illinois. Our employees have an average of 18 years experience and know that customer relationships are important to our continued success. We have been a short-run book printer for nearly 40 years and always stay at the forefront of technology. Our niche is from 1 to 5,000 copies. Today, we offer digital, black and white, and 4-color high-speed inkjet printing, a cost-effective way to introduce color into your short-run titles. We, of course, offer traditional offset printing as well. Bindery is done in-house, from adhesive case binding to PUR perfect binding to mechanical binding of all types, including side sewing. We provide warehousing, kitting, distribution, inventory management, a new print-on-demand facility, streaming browser-based ebooks, and bookstore. Call us at 1-800-465-5200 for a quote on your next book project. You can also visit our website at www.tps1.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Alrighty, with me is Penny Sanseveri, and what I want to do is just do a really mini, 30-second recap that there's huge things going on in the digital book market, which means bye-bye to the freebie and the 99-cent book, because they're viewed as kind of weak sisters in the lot. So add some integrity and respect for your book and get it priced at a decent price. And it's not a freebie. Don't expect everything free. That worry and anxiety books are hot now, and it's a domino factor from the election that we just came through. And avoid putting bestseller on your book covers, back covers, because the robots of Amazon are going to toss you out in a nanosecond unless you can distinctly prove that you were USA Today and you were New York Times. Because if you won one of the sub categories on Amazon for 30 minutes, that's not going to fly right now. And so Penny and I have been talking about keywords in the Amazon ads, which are very, very hot right now. And you can really do some lucrative marketing using them. And this is the whole Amazon marketing services that came up. My experience, Penny, is that some of them are not so hot. And actually the ones that have worked the best is what you're kissing on, is using the keywords and the click per day, the click per over. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's jump back over there and take a peek at that. So we ended up on cookbooks and quinoa. So what are we going to do if we got a cookbook that has a fabulous chocolate cookie recipe and a murder in the middle of it or something?
Well, I mean, I think that's probably going to be a cozy mystery book. So I would start to look up other similar type cozy mysteries. Mm-hmm. And I would, and that's where I would start with those keywords on Amazon.
All right. And what Penny did say is you look at those other books, and those become part of your keywords. They're titles, not the author. It's the title. Is that correct, Penny?
It is the title and the author.
Oh, both.
The title and the author. Oh, yeah.
And so your 400 words, we're talking about getting 400 keywords, will fill up very fast. And this is part of your homework. You should know who your competitors are. And Penny, I am stunned when I ask that and people don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know.
Yeah, And this is I'll tell you something, this is also a little scary because excuse me, when you start to research how many other competitive books that there are out there, it really starts to get crazy.
And also that are similar to your title.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It really starts to get crazy.
Yeah, one of the tips I want to give to everyone is that you just take your title that you're working on, or maybe your firm on it, put it into Amazon and do a search and just see what comes up. You'll be surprised. You will be surprised.
Yeah.
On that.
Oh, yeah, you will be very surprised. I was shocked when I started doing, because I was testing this on a romance novel, and, you know, I know that there's a lot of romance published every single day, but I got to tell you, when I started going through these lists, I was just amazed at how many new titles to continually get added every single day, because you can see the new release list, and you know, I'm thinking, I don't have time to read all this stuff. Apparently somebody does, because they're just cranking them out.
Well, as you know, there are formulas, and more and more have, especially some of these old-time established authors, who have actually a team of writers or writing for them with them. They may outline it. James Patterson is a classic example. That I wouldn't say he's not a romance writer, but that they have formulas, and all you have to do is almost kind of change the location, change the plot a little bit, change the names, and it's almost like a voila. Had you ever sensed that?
Yeah, it is. You know, you can take a cover and you can revamp the cover or change the title, and it just all of a sudden gets this new momentum. It's amazing sometimes how that can happen.
I know. Okay, so let's jump on to, we've got an old book. What can we do to revive it?
Well, and so in some cases you can re-release the book. So what we just talked about, you could maybe retitle it, put a new cover on it. I had an author a couple of months ago who said, "Look, I released this 400-page sci-fi thriller before I really knew what I was doing 5-6 years ago." And he goes, "Is there anything that I can do with this old book?" And I said, "Why not republish it, or even better, since it is so long, why don't you chop it up into 4 books in ebook and release those on Amazon, and you know, put new covers on them, and then bundle the book and you know, put that out there as well." And you know, he has since done that and essentially revived the entire series by starting with the first book, because he wrote the first book and then he wrote other subsequent books, which you know, did better as he started to learn more and more about marketing. So there's a lot that you can do with these, you know, when you have an older book. The first one is you know, is it worthy of being re-released, and maybe it needs to be updated. If your book is still relevant, if it's an evergreen title, there's probably no reason that it needs to be rewritten at all. One of the biggest areas right now that I'm seeing of books that need to be redone and re-released are children's books. So we're seeing a lot of these covers that I think probably would have done well in the 1980s marketplace. But I got to tell you, these millennial moms, they're really looking for sharp, creative branding covers. In fact, I'm getting ready to write a post on this, because these books, if you have a children's book out there and it's not doing well, you may want to take a look at some of the other competition, because it very well may be that the cover is just too dated looking, even if you published it a month ago. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, and it's always a shock to them, because authors often fall in love with their covers, and that my experience is a lot of times they really fail to see what is really current for their specific genre, and I don't care whether it's kids or adults or in between books. That you really do need to do your homework, and that is where you have to pay attention to what New York is coming out with. At least that's my 2 bits. So we compete with that.
Yeah, you really do. You do have to pay attention. I do think that you're going to start to see a lot more. We've already seen some consolidation in New York. I think you're going to start to see a lot more of it, and possibly even fewer titles being released out of the New York market because of the consolidation. Yeah.
So who is consolidating? I just have to ask that.
I don't know, but I do think that you're going to, and there's always some rumors at some of these bigger book events like Digital Book World. There's always some of these rumors that, such and such is, they're not doing well, and maybe they'll get absorbed by Simon & Schuster or Penguin or something like that. But we've already seen some of it in the last couple of years, and I think all of them are going to have, without exception, I think all of them are going to have self-publishing arms, which is a little scary because, as you and I know, that isn't always a really good thing. They get bad covers. They're under the assumption that because a Simon & Schuster self-publishing arm decided to publish them, that they are now a Simon & Schuster title, which is nothing could be further from the truth.
Let's talk about Balboa Press. What you've got them is that, and Author Solutions, which handles a lot of these self-publishing arms. I mean, with Simon & Schuster, it's Archway. With Thomas Nilsson, it's Westbow. With Hay House, it's Balboa Press. And that you've got these things, they're all Author Solutions. So one of the things that everyone needs to be tuned in is pay attention to the address. And if it's in Indiana, it's Author Solutions you're dealing with, and their back office.
Yeah,
and there's this illusion that Louise Hay will see my book and she's going to be following it through. Really? Or the head people at Simon & Schuster are going to look at it and really no, it's not the case. And it's a tragedy. It'd be, as you know, I go after publishing predators, Penny, and it makes me cuckoo.
Yeah.
The latest news that came out over the week ago was Tate went finally under, which I was thrilled to hear. And a lot of people are left. I mean, Tate Publishing owed Lightning Source over $2 million in printing. $2 million. There's a lawsuit. I mean, there's multiple lawsuits. Authors haven't been paid. Employees haven't been paid. Vendors haven't been paid. And so everybody, you just need to pay attention and do your homework before you jump in bed with anybody. It's all I can say on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So what other tips? We just have a couple of minutes here that we can do. So re-release the book, new cover, maybe a new title, do some revamping. I want to tell everyone, for God's sakes, get on your back cover and make it written with marketing copy.
Thank you.
That is one of the things that makes me bonkers that they don't do. So
yeah. I mean, make sure that your back cover copy. The other thing that you can do too, look, again, if your book is evergreen and you're thinking, oh gosh, I don't really want to, necessarily re-release it. Maybe if you've written a nonfiction book, there is something current going on in the world that you can speak to, and maybe it's just a matter of getting yourself out there again.
All right. With that, Penny, we're out of time. I hate this. We have to do this again really soon.
I would love that. That would be great.
All right. Penny Sanseveri, get her books, Red Hot Internet Publicity and How to Sell Your Books by the Truckload on Amazon. This is AuthorU. We'll be right back.
But didn't know what to ask with your host, Dr. Judith Briles. Each